Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Dr. Frank, and in today's video, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step guide on how to break up or end your relationship with weed. For those of you who don't know me, I struggled with cannabis addiction. I struggled with nicotine addiction, energy drink addiction, and adult media content addiction. And now I got a company that helps people quit each of these things. And today, I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the details about my relationship with weed and how I got to the point where I am today. And hopefully you're going to learn some stuff along the way and find this content relatable. So let's start by where our journey begins, where our relationship began with weed. It began at the first encounter. So this was maybe like the first or second time that you smoked weed. And if you're anything like me, you probably saw it as somewhat of the following. It was sexy, it was a little bit of trouble, and you approached with caution. What do I mean by that? You know, my parents always told me growing up, don't smoke weed, which made it all the more enticing, right? I knew that there was some trouble revolving around weed, right? I grew up kind of traditionally seeing weed as a drug, not so much as a medicine or anything like that. And when I smoked it for the first time, I proceeded with caution. Like a lot of my friends were smoking back in college. I knew it was something that I eventually wanted to try. I wanted to see what all the hype was about. But I proceeded with caution. Probably the same way that I would go talk to an attractive female. I proceeded with caution, knowing damn well that I could get burned at the end of the conversation. And I think that's how most people start out with weed, right? Maybe your introduction to it was a little different. Maybe weed was a big part of your family environment or your day-to-day environment. But for most people, I think they start here. And this leads into phase number 2. And this is the occasional fun. This is where you're spending limited time, you and Mary Jane. You guys are spending limited time together. So this is where, I'm smoking on the weekends with my friends and Mary Jane is there with us. Maybe on occasion, she would sneak over on like a Wednesday night for that midweek fun, whatever it may be. But our connection was pretty on occasion, right? When I first started smoking weed, I didn't dive all in head first. Like I couldn't. I was in school, I had work, I had other things going on in my life. And I think that's the case for most people who wind up with addiction, whether it's to weed or alcohol. It usually starts off as occasional use with caution. But eventually I decided, well, I really like this Mary Jane and I think I want to start dating her. I think I'm going to ask her out. I'm going to pop that first question. I'm going to ask her out. I want to spend more time with her. I don't want to see Mary Jane on just Saturday and Friday night. I want to see her more. Maybe like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday type of deal, right? So this is where we start dating. And it's awesome. Here I am. I got this Mary Jane who's sexy. She's trouble. She kind of keeps me on my toes. And I'm in that honeymoon phase, right? Like this is where weed is probably one of the best things in the world. I'm spending a lot more time with cannabis. It's calming me down, right? I have less anxiety about things. Just everything seems like more fun. Hanging out with my friends, even when I'm just sitting at home alone, as long as Mary Jane is there, I'm having a good time. And I would say this is where we're dating early on in our relationship. And this is the honeymoon phase. I'm feeling it. It's good. I'm loving life. I'm a happy guy right now, right? And at this point, like any relationship that you get real involved with, if you ever have been, you don't ever see this thing ending. I'm like, there's no way this is never gonna end. This is the one. I found that special someone. This is the one. So then we move on. We advance in our relationship, and things are getting serious now. Getting serious. I asked Mary Jane to move in with me, and she agrees. I want to see Mary Jane. I want to see cannabis on the daily. I don't want the Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday routine. I don't want that. I want to see Mary Jane every single day of the week. And now we're getting daily interaction. And things are going good. Maybe I'm out of the honeymoon phase at this point, right? Maybe the intercourse isn't as intimate as it was when we first met, right? But it's good. Things are good. We've moved in together. It's a big step. Hey, this is a big commitment. And I'm willing to make that commitment to cannabis because I know for a fact that she's going to take good care of me, right? So I don't know if you've ever been in this situation in a relationship before, but here we are after some time, maybe a few years of living together. I wasn't ready to take that big commitment step, but I'm starting to find that Mary Jane is getting a little controlling. Like, I'm trying to go out with my friends, but she wants me to stay home with her. I'm trying to save up some money to go, buy a car, maybe get a bigger apartment, and she wants me to spend all my money on her. I'm trying to go to the gym. Like, for the love of God, I'm just trying to wake up and go work out in the morning and get some stuff done. And it's a Sunday morning and she doesn't want me to leave. She wants me to spend time with her first thing. And I'm starting to feel the vibe that this relationship is getting a little bit controlling and that I need some space. So I'm acknowledging that in the beginning it was great and that I wanted to spend every minute of every day with her. But now something's changing. And this is where I'm starting to acknowledge that maybe I'm changing as a person, right? I'm wrapping up college. I'm getting into my professional career. I'm realizing there's a bit more to life going on than just me and Mary Jane time. And it's causing fights. It's causing problems now, right? I'm on the daily, I'm saying, hey, I'm going to walk away from you. And she's like, do it. I dare you. And I'm like, no, I love you, baby. I don't ever want to leave you. It's not good, guys. This is looking like a kind of a greasy couple out of a greasy movie now. It's not good, okay? She expects too much of me, right? She's interrupting my relationship. She's interrupting my finances. I'm the one paying for everything. I'm frustrated. And this is where eventually things heat up. And she's like, you know what? If you're really that dissatisfied, break up with me. I dare you to. And this is where we go into the breakup. But it's not a clean breakup. This is not a clean one. Like, we break up. I got 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door. And, this is the type of breakup where we're still texting each other regularly. And maybe it's even worse than that. Maybe we'll take a few days and not speak to each other and then just kind of mess with each other after a little bit. I'll bring her back to the apartment. She'll bring me back into her life, whatever it may be. It's not a clean breakup. It's not good. There's a lot of drama going on right now. And it's weird because the more stress I feel, the more drama I feel from this relationship, the more I want to crawl back into Mary Jane's arms, which is really screwed up at this point in the relationship because it's like, God, she's so controlling, she's causing me so much pain, yet every time I feel that pain and I feel that stress and I feel that depression, all I want to do is lay down with her. Why is that? What's going on here? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. We've now entered the stages of a toxic relationship. These are toxic vibes. This is no longer good. And what are toxic vibes? Breaking up and we keep going back. I'm relapsing on Mary Jane every 4 to 5 days. I'm relapsing on Mary Jane every 2 weeks. Just when I think I have things together and I'm going on 3 months and I've had a few other dates and I'm seeing the brighter side of life, I can't keep my phone away. I wind up sending her a text while I'm drunk at 4 a.m. Hey, are you around? Want to get together? Bad. I'm not behaving and she's not behaving. Now, what's this? Can't let go of the old times. I'm holding on to those past times. I'm saying, hey, I remember back to when things were fun. I remember back to this honeymoon phase and our first encounters. Remember how much fun that was? Remember? And I'm trying to recreate it. The problem is, years have gone by. My life looks different now. My relationship with Mary Jane changed. Things happened. A lot of good things, a lot of bad things. And for me to think I'm going to reclaim those old times is unrealistic. What else is going on? At this point, and I think it's safe to say, and I say this with caution, there's been some abuse, there's been some trauma. And I think trauma and abuse comes with any addiction, right? I was abusing the substance, and the substance in turn was abusing me. It was abusing my time. It was abusing my relationships, right? It was abusing my my finances, and ultimately it was taking a toll on my health. My mental health and my physical health were getting crushed, just obliterated. But yet I refused to put that substance down. I wanted to abuse the heck out of that substance. And of course, when we're in a toxic relationship like this, you're not going to walk away from it without some trauma. And maybe that trauma is the rebuilding that you have to do financially. Maybe it's the relationships. Maybe it's none of that. Maybe it's simpler. Maybe it's mental health. Maybe your money looks good, your relationships look good. Maybe it's something else. But this is bad. These are signals of a toxic thing. And then lastly, I'm scared to move on. I'm scared to walk away from something that I knowingly want to end. Something that I can choose to walk away from at any given moment. This Mary Jane doesn't have to be part of my life, but there's something that keeps me coming back. I have a fear that my life is not going to be as good without Mary Jane. What is that? Why? What am I holding on to? I just told you Mary Jane is controlling. She's destroying me. There's nothing good. There's nothing that I can recreate that's going to make me feel like the first few times. Why am I holding on? Why am I scared to move on? This is addiction. This is how we get manipulated in continuing to do something that we no longer want to be doing anymore. Something that we can walk away from. Something that we can choose to walk away. A bad relationship that we are in control of ending. Because Mary Jane's not going to do it. She's not going to end it for us. She's going to try. Right? She's going to try everything. You might get Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome, where you're throwing up every single time you smoke weed, violently getting sick. She's begging you to let her go. Stop abusing the relationship. Pay attention to that, because if you don't, she's going to hit you right back just as hard. And this is where we then come to the end. We go through all of this, all these phases, all these things, and we eventually decide, this is done. It's time for me to move on. It's time for me to acknowledge that I did have fun, and there was definite benefits out of this relationship. I might have learned things. Hell, I might have just had a great time. Maybe medically, she was even there for me when I needed her during certain times. But that changed. I changed. My life circumstances changed, and our relationship changed. And I'm at a place where I can comfortably say, it's time to move on. Because forcing something that isn't meant to be is only going to lead to more pain and more suffering and more drawn out BS. And that's the guide to quitting Mary Jane. Now, we could go a lot deeper into these things, and I could take you through the next steps. And in the pinned comment below, you can find a 7-step series PDF on how to actually quit smoking weed. The steps that you actually need to take. I give you worksheets and everything. So I'll find you guys in the pinned comment below. And if you don't want to do that, follow me into the next video where I talk a little bit more about this stuff. I'll see you there.